Let's get into a little bit more details of select, and in this case I'll be talking about operators. And I have already shown you how to use operators, but just there are a few more operators that I wanted to discuss. The first one is multiple conditions, either using and or. So in the SQL statements that I have shown you so far, in the select statements rather, I had used only one condition in the where clause. I had mentioned only one column, and based on that the subset of rows were selected. But there can be multiple conditions based on which you want to select the rows. Obviously there can be a lot of scenarios wherein you want to select rows based on multiple column values, and we can do that using and operator or operator. So in and operator, what would happen is, let's say if you mention and you mention 3 columns, the combined output of all the columns would be considered to return the result set. If you use or operator, then the condition only for any one of the operator would be checked and then returned back. Then you have not operator. So we can use not operator to find a value which does not match a particular value. So let's say we mentioned find me a value where the price is not something like this, or the customer ID is not like this, or the payment method is not like this. So we can use not operator also. However, it should not be used because there's a lot of performance impact of using the not operator. Even though ANSYS SQL provides the not operator, but in the database engine level, we should not use it, or we should at least avoid using it as much as possible. And I have already told you greater than, less than, greater than equal to, and less than equal to operator, using the condition on price and using the condition on quantity. I have also shown you like operator, so you know when to use a like operator. So let's say if you know the starting of a string, that this is the starting value of the string, but you do not know what the ending value is, so you can use a wildcard with percentage mark, or you can do that at the end also. Let's say you know what the end value is, what the word ends with, but you do not know what it begins with, so you can mention percentage followed by the end of that word. Or if you know some of the middle words, you do not know the beginning and the ending, you can use percentage followed by the subword and then percentage again, and you have to use it using like operator. And like operator can only be used on text data like character, varchar, text, data types, etc. Then you have distinct. I have not shown you distinct. What it does is that along with distinct, we can mention one or more columns. So it will pull out all the distinct values for that particular column. And these are the aggregation functions like count, sum, average, minimum, maximum. I have shown you sum, but let me show you count, average, minimum, maximum also. Then there's something called alias. We have already used alias using the as keyword. Now in the previous SQL statement, I used sum bracket price and then I mentioned as a particular value. So that is the alias, and we can put alias for columns, we can put alias for table names also. So let's do some hands-on on these operators. Okay, so what will I do is I'll start with the count operator. So what count does, it finds out the total number of rows of a particular table. So if I run select count star from orders, it will tell me how many rows are there in that particular column. So it is an error because I am using Postgres database. So I'll have to connect to SQL basics database, and then I'll have to set the search path also, if you remember, because if I do not mention search path, or if I do not set the schema, what would happen is that the table would be searched in the public schema, and we do not have that. So now if I run select count star from orders, it is telling me that there are 100 rows. Let's look at the number of rows in customers. There are 13 rows, and sellers, and there are 21 rows. We can use count star with where condition also. Let's say I want to find out how many records are there for let's say payment method is like American Express. So I can mention payment. So from the orders table, I can mention payment method like American Express, and it is telling me that there are 24 rows with the payment method American Express. So we can use where conditions also with the count start, and you can use group by also. And if I, let's say, remove the payment method and I mention group by payment method, it will tell me the count for all the payment method. And actually I'll have to mention the payment method here also, so that we can get a fair amount of idea. Now for Visa there are 20 rows, for MasterCard 22 rows, Discovered 19 rows, Chase 15 rows, and American Express 24 rows. So we can use count star like this. Now let's look at and or conditions. But before that, let me try to look at the number of, the rows that we have. So let's say I want to find out all the rows where price is maybe greater than 1000 and the quantity is also greater than 6. So that's what I want to find out. So I can use a subset of columns, or I can get all the columns. So in this case, I'm using all the columns. Then from orders, where, now this is the one condition, and the other condition is quantity greater than 6, meaning 7, 8, 9 and 10. So I'm using AND operator here as you can see. Now what it would do, it would return the rows only when both of them match, meaning it will return the rows where price is greater than 1000, also quantity is greater than 6. So let's see if there are rows or not. Seems like there are 18 rows, and as you can see the price is greater than 1000 and all the quantity is greater than 6. You will not find a single quantity where it is less than 6. So this is what AND condition is, and it will return the values when both the conditions match. But that is not the case with OR. So in case of OR, what happens? Rows will be returned if one of the conditions match. So let's say I mention price to be, let's say, 2000, which is not the case. Instead of AND, I'll use OR. But let's show you whether there are any rows are there or not. So I do not have any value or any rows where price is greater than 2000 and quantity is greater than 6. It does not exist. But let's say if I mention OR, what would happen is that it will go ahead and see whether this match or this match. So if any one of the conditions match, then I'll get the rows. And as you can see, there are a lot of rows where the conditions match. None of them price is greater than 2000. So the first condition did not match, but the second condition matched, where the quantity is greater than 8. And not only that, so here I have shown you only 2 columns. I can mention another column also. So let's say and payment method, not and actually, or payment method is equal to American Express. So now what would happen is, if any one of the conditions match, it will return. So as you can see, I have gotten records with payment method Chase and Visa also. Why that is the case? Because in this case the quantity is greater than 6. The price is not greater than 2000, so the price condition did not match, but the quantity condition matched, and the payment condition also matched in some cases, where as you can see for this one, the quantity is less than 6, but it has returned because I mentioned the OR operator. So if any one of these matches, then only it will return the output, and that is the difference between AND and OR. And you can mix both of them. We can mix AND also and OR also. Let me show you that. So what I'll do here, I will say if price is greater than 2000 or quantity is greater than 6 and payment method equal to American Express, and I have to put these two in bracket, meaning these two conditions are combined together. So I'll have to mention AND here. So what will happen, this statement and will go and check all the rows. it'll see whether the price is greater than 2000 or not. So on all the rows the price is not 2000. So it will match the second condition, which is a combination of these two, where I'm saying quantity is greater than 6 and payment method is equal to American Express. So as you can see, the quantity is greater than 6 in all the cases and payment method is American Express. I have not received any other value where the payment method is Visa or Chase, even though the condition or the quantity was greater than 6. So this is a combination of AND operator and this is a combination of OR operator. So either this or this entire condition, which is again an AND. Right, so we can mix and match also. For example, I can say if price is less than, let's say, 700 and quantity is less than equal to 5 or quantity is greater than equal to 6 and payment method equal to American Express. So what it will do, it will go and search all the rows. This is the first condition, which is an AND. So what it will check? It will check whether the price is less than 700 and the quantity is less than equal to 5. This is the first condition. If both of these match, then the row would be returned, or if both of these conditions match, the row would be returned. So let's see if you have any output or not. Okay, so quantity is, the spelling of quantity is wrong. I'll to change it. So as you can see, the first row here, price is less than 700, but the quantity is greater than 6 and the payment method is American Express. So for the first row here, the second condition matched after the OR. For the second one, as you can see, the payment method is discovered, the quantity is less than equal to 5 and the price is less than 700. So the first condition matched. And same is the case with the other rows also. What it is doing, it is checking each and every row. So it will try to match this entire condition, this composite condition, or this composite condition. Now if I mention AND here, it will try to match all the composite conditions. So if I mention AND here, there are no rows, meaning that there are no rows where price is less than 700 and quantity is less than equal to 5 and quantity is greater than 6 and payment method is American Express. Now this is obviously a counterintuitive, right? So because I have mentioned quantity is less than 5, also I have mentioned quantity is greater than 6. It is not going to happen. So let me try to remove this and make this condition a little better, where I'm mentioning price is less than 700 or quantity is less than 5. So first any one of these two should match and the second one should also match. So first this condition would be checked for all the rows. Then this condition would be added after this check is done. So if I now press enter, as you can see, either the price is 700 or the quantity is less than equal to 5. So all are American Express, by the way, because I have mentioned the payment method to be American Express after the AND condition. But here the first condition is price is either less than 700 or quantity is less than equal to 5. So if you see the first row, the price is less than 700 but quantity is not less than 5. For the second one, quantity is less than 5 but price is not less than 700. So these are the various combinations that you can use using the and or operator. And these are very useful in data analytics, returning queries, analyzing data. If let's say there are BI developers or data scientists or data analysts, these operators are very, very useful. So next I'll show you the NOT operator. So what I want to find out is all the orders where payment method is not equal to American Express. So again, select star from orders. As this is a condition, I'll have to use where condition, where payment method, either you can use not equal to like this, or you can use greater than less than sign also. So I want to find out all the rows where payment method is not equal to American Express. So as you can see here, none of the rows have payment method equal to American Express. So 24 rows are not there. So this is the not operator, and you can also use greater than equal to also for not. It is similar to not equal to, but as I said, this is fine because we are using or we are running the queries on a very small table. If you have millions or tens of millions or billions of rows, you should not use the not operator. This is not a good practice to use not operator in your SQL statement. There is one more operator called in. I have not shown you that. So what I want to find out is this. Let me use the customers table this time, and I want to find out the customers where, let's say, the countries is USA and let's say in Nepal. So these are the two countries for which I want to find the record of. So you can run select star from customers. You can use the where condition with the or operator, where country equal to let's say USA or country equal to Nepal. So if I use this, I can get these three rows. But imagine there are multiple countries that I want to mention. So let's say I want to mention Hungary also. So in that case, what would happen? You'll have to mention or again or country equal to Hungary or Hungary. So now I'll see four rows. And if you have more and more countries that I want to filter out, you'll have to place them in or condition. But instead of that, we can use a in condition which would be similar, but the syntax is different. Now what I want to mention, select star from customers where country in, and now I'll have to mention all the values here one by one. Either it is Nepal or USA or Hungary. So these are the three countries that I want to find out. So as you can see, the output are same. Now this is true for integers also. It's not that you can use only with character or string variables or string data types. We can use it for any data types. It can be for date of birth also, or meaning date data type also, integer data type also, so on and so forth. So let me show you that using orders table. So let's say this is the output of orders table. So what will I do? I'll find out all the orders where quantity is either 5 or 1 or 3. Now our quantity in, now this is a integer data type, so you should not put it in quotes. It should be just like numbers. Now it will find out all the rows where quantity is either 5 or 1 or 3. So this is another operator which is very helpful in analyzing data. So this is the second operator. Sorry, this is the other operator that I wanted to talk about, which is in operator. Then the next thing is distinct. So now what is distinct? Let me again run select from orders because it will make sense if I run distinct on orders. So you see the customers can repeat. So we have 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,005 here, 10,005 here, so on and so forth. But what I want to do is that I want to find out the distinct values of customer IDs in this table. I know we can find that out in the customers table also, but let's say you do not have access to customers table and you want to find out the distinct values of customers who have placed orders. So what do? You select distinct followed by customer ID from orders table. That's all we need to do. Now what it will do, it will share or it will output only the distinct values of the customer. So as you can see, all the customers have unique values in the output. But if I remove, let's say, this distinct, then the number of output would be 100 rows. So as you can see, the number of rows are 100 rows because it is returning all the customer values. But I do not want to do that. I want to find out the distinct value of customers. Now, not only that, we can find distinct using two different columns also. Now, first, before that, let me try to find out the distinct value of sellers also. So let's say select distinct seller ID, and there are 21 rows out of 100 rows, meaning that 21 sellers are repeated in all the 100 rows. Now what I want to do is I want to find out the distinct of customer ID and seller ID both. So the number of rows are 81 in this case, not 100 but 81, meaning the combination of these two are unique. The combination of customer ID plus seller ID are distinct. That's what it means. What happens here is that you try to find out, let's say, unique values across multiple columns. You can, if you want to do that, you can use distinct with multiple columns also. I have shown you count. Let me show you the other functions that we have. We have minimum, maximum, average, etc. So what will I do? I'll find out the average of price from the orders table. This is the average and it is returning multiple digits after the decimal point, which is fine. Now let's say I want to find out the average for individual payment method. So how do I do that? Because I need average for individual payment method, I can use the payment method here. But as I have used a function, mathematical function along with it, I'll have to mention the payment method with a group by clause also. But if I run it, it will give me error saying that payment method should be there in the group by. So now what the output would be? The output would be average across the payment methods, not for all the rows. So for Visa, this is the average. For MasterCard, this is the average. For Discover, this is the average, so on and so forth. So this is for individual payment methods. So I have grouped the rows based on the payment methods. Similarly, I can find out maximum also. Again, I'm using the price column, but it can be any other columns also. So this is the maximum across various groups. If I want to find out maximum for the entire table, I'll have to remove the payment method and then mention the max. So this is the maximum 1499.50 across the entire table, not for individual payment methods. So this also should come somewhere here. So as you can see, the max is in American Express. And in the previous case, I had used group by for individual payment methods. Similarly, I can use minimum also, which is 521.59. And the same can be used using group by also for individual groups. So let's say I want to find out the minimum payment for individual payment methods. So I can mention select payment method followed by min price from orders group by payment method. So these are the various functions. Let's talk about alias now. Alias would be useful when you use joins. So what alias means, that I am changing the name of the table. So here what I have done, I have placed an O after the orders. So in this case, it means that the table of the orders have changed to O. So now I'll have to mention the columns with O dot, because we want the price from the orders table and we want the payment method from the orders table. So it's the same output. Now this is alias for tables. We can have alias for columns also. So here is, as you can see, the output is min, and actually it does not make any sense. So we can change it with an alias, and you can mention as, we can mention minimum underscore price per card. So now the output says minimum price per card. So what I have done, I have put an alias of minimum underscore price per card for the output column. So the output of this one would be shown with a column name, this one. So this is what alias is, and in orders also I can mention as, the output is similar, but in columns you have to mention this as keyword. You can choose to omit this keyword while putting alias for tables after the from clause, but you'll have to make sure that you put the as keyword after the column name. So these are the various operators that can be used with select statement.